AEW. Not a lot. Just enough to remind me why I don't watch it. Oh, this is already funny. Just the headline. The list of moves and actions that are now banned from AEW or need to be approved by the company.
Maybe that's why Nash is pissed off, because he went for Rock and Austin and not try to duplicate him.
Well, it'd be easier to duplicate him. You only have to learn 5 moves.
Like you said, and we've all been saying, Tony Khan, you need a hierarchy, and he gets one, and then we make fun of it.
Because he's sitting back there talking about the Brock match, and finally we had a wrestling match. Finally we got 2 guys telling a story. They weren't outside in the ring the whole time. One of them
was he not watching the same match as we were?
Yeah, those games, man, I would say, like, for me, like, the best ones, I would say, are, like, the ones where they try to get a certain, like, time.
This is my entire IT team right here on screen. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Wrestle Chat with Vince McMahon. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Nation Network. It's been a minute since we've done Wrestle Chat, but we are back to do a little bit of Wrestle Chat here. Jay will not be joining me right yet because I didn't know if he was home or at work, and he just sent me a text as I went on. Got a lot of catching up to do. As you guys know, I don't do StreamYard anymore, which would be much easier just to have somebody jump on. I can't do that anymore. It's got to be preset before I go live. And we're using Video Ninja, I believe it's called, which does all the same stuff. It just requires a few extra little steps, and it has to be done in advance. It's a lot trickier to try and do it while you're going live. So, Jay will be back with us next time, I am sure. This one is kind of going to be a little bit all over the place. I'm going to try and do some sort of chronological order to this thing if I can. Andrew Roberts, what's happening, buddy? Prime time. You know what? It's time. It's time. It's prime time. Last time we spoke, I was working on some new computer stuff. My old one was not going to take Windows 11 update. So I got a new computer, and I've been spending days setting it up. I knew there's a reason why I don't like getting new computers, and this is the reason. They take forever to set up. And that's what I've been doing, and it's still not completely set. I literally just paid my bills today, so I had to reprogram all the websites in and reinsert. Good thing I keep like a cheat sheet for all the passwords because I never remember them all. So yeah, I did that to get that thing going. Ken Rogers in the house. Good to have you, buddy. So the new computer has been one thing, and I also had mentioned in the last kind of State of the Nation that I did that there was a new element to my job. Same company, but I took on a different role, and that it was going to be very time-consuming, and I can use the term soul-sucking at this point. So here's the good news. I quit. I had enough of that shit. It's just horrible, horrible company to work for. Man, in my entire life, never have I worked for a more dismal owner. Just a horrible fucking company. The only thing I can say about the guy positive is he's straight up and honest with you. Man told me straight up, I don't care about the people working for me. I don't care about our clients that hire us. I only care about my 18%. There's something to be said for honesty. But that's it's only so much you can do. And then this new account that I took on was third shift. And I only did it because my boss sold me on the team that I'd be working with. And it seemed like these guys and girls were going to be top notch. And a lot of them were. But I don't know, man. It's like my boss flipped a switch or something. She was really cool for 3 years. And then for the last 2 weeks, she's been like up my ass about everything. And it's just like, you know what? I don't need this job. Gave him 2 weeks notice. And then after a week, the problem still persisted. So I just said, you know what? Forget the second week. You don't need me. You're backdooring me with this other guy the whole time anyway. Just let him take it over. But long story short is there was a guy that she kind of wanted to be the manager of the account, even though he's grossly incompetently not qualified to do that. Speaks no English whatsoever. and this was a government building. You have to speak English if you're going to be the guy in charge. So I was kind of like Greg Brady. I was Johnny Bravo. And for those of you that know, you know. Johnny Bravo. Greg was only picked to be Johnny Bravo not because of his singing talent, but because he fit the suit. And that's kind of what it was. J-Rock's in the house. Welcome, buddy. So, yeah, I basically went from 2 weeks' notice, worked a week, and then said, you know what? We're going to wrap it up this week. I'm done. Because she just kept on allowing this guy to get away with shit, and it was undermining my efforts, and I just didn't need it anymore. So I'm taking the rest of the year off, and then come January, I'm really hoping to go back to the place that I used to work at, but now work for the client directly, as opposed to being an outside party. So that is my hope, my goal. That's what I'll be working towards. And if not, there'll be something else out there. I'm not sweating it right now. But it's been tough for people to find jobs, and I know that. So it's not going to be easy. So that's that. So the good news for you guys and me, in a way, is I'm going to decompress for the next almost 8 weeks. And that'll leave me a lot of time to do this stuff. And I enjoy this. I actually saw a very good video about the people, how they've, over the years, made it seem like, oh, if you're a gamer, you're a failure, and you're a lazy bum, and this and that. Where studies have now shown what I've always said is that these are therapeutic. Playing games helps people who are working, people who are CEOs play video games because it gives you a chance to get away from the real world. And boy, oh boy, I think the reason people are playing more video games nowadays is because, well, you know, you got commies running New York now, so there's that. Messed up world that we live in. It's nice to be able to forget about it for a while. So that's what's going on there. Now, next thing is we're still talking about the fact that I'm running a new computer right now, which is a nice computer. It's technically a gaming computer, even though I don't game on the computer, but for video editing, because I want to do more of the XXX stuff, and it was getting really difficult to do it on my old computer. It was just so slow, and video editing, it advances so much in a short period of time. I had version 18, I think, or 16, I think it was. Version 16 of DaVinci, and when I loaded this one up, it went straight to 20.5 or something like that. I mean, it's gone up a few different cycles. Even OBS has improved since the one I've been running. So hopefully this computer is going to do well. Now, what I don't know is how everything sounds on that end until later on when I watch the stream back. So if you guys hear anything funky, like, you know, echoey effects other than the ones that I do deliberately like that, it still has some minor issues. I haven't done a live stream yet. I've done the Saturday morning pre-tape shows, which went off pretty well. Still getting all my commercials loaded up, getting all my little bumpers loaded up. So it hasn't been as smooth as it has been in the past, but it was passable. And the shows went pretty well over the weekend. If you haven't seen them, I won't spoil it. But some good stuff coming up. Matter of fact, I think later tonight I'm going to do my first live, which will be probably around 8 o'clock. And it'll be the NWA from the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum, which I'm still finishing up that arena a little bit, trying to give it the flavor. So yeah, I'm not sure. Again, if you hear any weird echoey stuff or anything like that, there are multiple things all wired, and I wired it up exactly the same way I did the old computer. And this one's having a very unique scenario. It's not that unique in a sense that when I bought my old computer about 5-6 years ago, same thing happened where every 8 minutes I would get this wave that would kind of slowly creep in over the audio, and it was static. And it was literally like a wave in the ocean. It would start off really soft, build up, get real annoying, and then kind of fade back out. And it lasts about 25 seconds. And it's on like an 8 to 9 minute cycle. Every 8 to 9 minutes it happens, and it lasts about 20 to 25 seconds. However, I don't think you guys hear it. I think it only affects me. It's annoying as fuck. I was trying to watch something online while I was working on some stuff on the side, and every 8 minutes that damn thing would just wave through, and it just, ah. So I remember that Best Buy folks, the Geek Squad, got involved last time, and they fixed it, but they don't even know how they fixed it back then. All I know is whatever they did worked. I'm going to end up having to do that again here next day or so. I just want to have everything else up and running before. That's going to be like the last thing I do, and hopefully we'll figure it out. Otherwise, I got to come to the house to do it, and that's an extra $50 that I don't really want to spend right now. So that gets you all caught up to date on what's been happening here. I will presume the video looks like it's doing okay. I can't really hear myself on the stream, so if everything sounds good, that's good. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that. Yeah, Jay, dude, I'm going to tell you later. Well, you know what? I might just go ahead and tell you guys the story that made me realize that I gave them the 2 weeks notice on, okay? And Miracle, how you doing, buddy? And you guys tell me how you think of this, all right? And keep in mind, I have worked for this same woman for over 3 years. We've gotten along famously until this change. M. Hawks in the house. Glad to see everybody. Awesome. Awesome. I needed this. So part of the job, anytime you're in management, you sooner or later you got to fire people. That's just the way it is. There's always going to be somebody that's just not towing the line, and you got to deal with what you got to deal with. What was funny is for 5 years while I was at my old account, there's like one guy in particular. It was a royal pain in the ass. And there was a point in time where I was like, you know what? He just needs to go. And HR and her, they were just like, no, we got to talk to him. We got to see what's wrong. We got to find out what's bothering him. And it's like they just wouldn't let you fire anyone. And I really didn't want to fire him because at the end of the day, he did good work. And he had a level of pride in anything his name was going to be on. So I knew if, he's on the closing team, which he almost always was, the job's going to get done. I can sleep and not worry about it. He just wanted to push buttons all the time, and it got old after a while. But anyway, that said, it was damn near impossible to fire anyone. I get to the new account. We find one guy as we're strolling around doing our walkthrough. And again, this is third shift now, so we're talking about 1 a.m. And dude's kind of sitting down in one of the lobby couches, got his phone out. And as we're walking up on him, he doesn't see us right away. It's a very large facility we're talking about. So as we get maybe 25, 35 feet away from him, he realizes, oh, shit, look who it is. And I was new, man. It was like day one for me, but he still had a clue who I was. And we're walking up on him, and he doesn't even bother. You would think, the right thing to do in that situation, you're on third shift, is you hop up and go, I'm sorry, man, I didn't sleep good last night. I was just resting for a minute. It won't happen again. And we would have just said, fuck it, don't worry about it. But that didn't happen. The dumbass kept sitting down there, got a big old smile on his face, Cheshire Cat style, like, yeah, you got me. And then mocks the situation by pulling out a rag and starting to, like, wipe the table he just had his feet on as if he was cleaning the table. Well, because you chose that method and not the other, we're going forward with discipline on this. Now, I thought we are going to give him, like, a final warning. Even if he never had one before, you don't have to go step by step. We're going to give his ass a final warning, right? No, boss turns around. You need to fire him. I said, what? We don't fire people. What happened to that? No, you're a new manager there, and you got to fire him. They have to understand. And I'm like, yeah, but I heard this guy was a rock star 2 weeks ago. Maybe anybody can fire somebody. Maybe a better option be to figure out why he's not doing so well right now, why you want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. No, he's got to be fired. And I'm like, holy shit, we've reversed roles around here. I'm like, hey, if you insist, fuck it. So, yeah, he's fired. Then a few weeks later, not even, days later, we got some other kid, young guy, 24, give or take. I only talked to him once. Very well spoken for his age. Seems all right to me, but then I'd started hearing stories that he's not, all home. And he was at the opposite building. There's two buildings that I'm involved in at this point. So he's on the north building, which is on the other side of the highway, and everything has its own building supervisor that I just check in with throughout the night, make sure she's good. And she tells me at the end of the shift how this guy, we'll call him Victor because that's his name, starts coming up on her at the end of the night and just shouting at her in the face, and you treat me different than you treat everybody else. I'm not going to put up with this shit anymore. You all pick on the quiet one. Well, I'm not going to be quiet anymore, which that kind of sounds, a little, well, what are we talking about, And he storms off. So I hear about this story like an hour or so later. So now I'm trying to reach out to this guy saying, because he's going to the corporate office. I says, yeah, you don't want to do that because we have a chain of command here. So she's a building supervisor. You have a problem with her, you come to me. We'll talk it out. We'll figure it out. And then if we can't, then you have every right to go to the corporate office. And he's like, well, with all due respect, I'm going to corporate. I said, well, with all due respect, I told you not to. So have fun with that. So I give him the heads up that he's going to show up. This is about a week and a half ago. And he shows up. So I'm getting ready to go to sleep around 1 in the afternoon. Got to be up for around 8:30 to be there for 9:30-ish. So I'm getting ready to lay down, and the phone rings, and it's my boss. And she's whispering, and I'm thinking to myself, they kidnap her and put her in the trunk of the car? What the fuck? So she's over there. He's here. He's here now. Don't go to sleep yet. We're going to call you when it's over. And I'm like, are you okay? Is this a hostage situation? No, I'll call you when it's over. Okay. As I'm trying to go to sleep, though. So she calls me back, and it's almost 2 o'clock now. It says, and she's on the line with HR. I mean, the whole team was there interviewing this guy. Okay, he's crazy. I said, yeah, that's kind of what I've been hearing. One of the things I had heard is that he was talking to the shadows in the bathroom while he was cleaning the bathroom because the shadows were talking to him. It could happen, I suppose. Again, it's third shift, so. Yeah, so anyway, he's talking to the shadows. The shadows are talking to him. He hears voices in his head. So what you're going to do is you're going to call him back at 3 o'clock and let him know that he's fired. I'm like, I'm going to call him back. I'm going to bed. No, you got to call him back at 3 o'clock. I'm like, what am I going to get, 3 hours fucking sleep? What is this shit? What? You all just had him in the office. Why didn't you tell him he's fired? Well, no, the guy's crazy. He left a notebook behind. It has a Bible verse in it like 150 times, just the same verse over and over again. And I think he left it on purpose. And I'm thinking to myself, he probably did. Fine. Now I'm staying up another hour. I'm going to call at 3 o'clock. Make you happy. Hang up the phone with my boss. 10 minutes goes by. She calls back again. Change of plans. Don't call him at 2. Or don't call him at 3 o'clock. Call him at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock? No, it's not happening. The fuck? How do you want me to sleep? She's like, no, we just don't want him coming back here to the office. This is the part where I want the rest of you guys to think about, what does that really say? You are figuring, okay, you guys are out of there no later than 5 o'clock, 5:15. Then I call him at 6 o'clock. Because you've now deemed that this guy's dangerous. And you don't want him coming back to your office. So if I do call him at 6 and the office isn't an option, I don't know. Where do you think he might end up going instead? I'm thinking he might show up at work at 10 o'clock at night, where we have absolutely no way of stopping you from walking straight in the building, wide open door. Once you go in the building, our area where we break the team out of is literally, how it's even allowable by fire code, I don't know, but it is a huge concrete bunker with one door that leads in, and that same door leads out. That's it. So if this guy is unhinged, which we now all agree that he is, you agree with it so much that you don't want him coming back to the office. He's got you scared. And then you're throwing him on us. And when we're in this concrete bunker, if he does show up and he does have a firearm, we are dead. Nowhere to run to, nowhere to hide. It's just over. And when I blurt that out loudly, saying, oh, so we're third shift, we're expendable. Is that what it is? Oh, no, that's not what I'm saying. That's exactly what you just said. Anyone else want to weigh in? I'm yelling at the HR team that I know is on the phone. I said, tell me how I would take that any other way. Okay, no, never mind. Call him at 3 o'clock. Just call him at 3 o'clock. But I need you to be on the north side tonight with her at the start of the shift. So she pisses this guy off because she don't know how to talk nice to people. And I got to be in harm's way. Really? Huh. And don't worry about it. Joseph, I'm going to send Joseph to be there with you. And I'm like, oh, my hero. I am sure he's going to put himself in front of a bullet. So we call him back at 3 o'clock. HR's on the phone. I explained to him that, because it was an aggressive form of behavior showing towards a female of all things who is a person that's outranking you, and then you didn't follow my instructions and not going to the office. That's insubordination. We're going to let you go at this time. Well, of course, he is going to go infrared. My brother from another mother. How you doing, buddy? So at this point, we're letting him go, and he's going to sue us, and he's going to sue this. And he's going to do it, buddy. Do it because you're going to win. Because apparently, now I've done this for quite a while in different places, whether it was Disney or wherever. So I've had quite a bit of education when it comes to the world of litigious society that we live in and legal matters. And one of the things I always tell you is never put anything in writing in emails, because that's all discoverable by the attorneys if there is a lawsuit. Now, that said, it's always referred to things of people getting injured, slip and falls, somebody hit somebody in a golf cart, that kind of stuff. In this situation, when I was prepping them for his arrival, I was letting them know, listen, just so you know, this guy's a little unhinged. He talks to the thing, he's got some schizophrenic thing going on where he talks to the shadows in the bathrooms. And the HR rep at that time had told me, don't ever put that in writing because that's discoverable. I was, okay, that he's crazy? Yeah, you'll discover it in a minute. Well, bottom line is it could seem like we're firing him because of that. And I'm like, we are. We're in an at-will state, man. We can fire people because we don't like their hair, man. But anyway, he'll probably get a good settlement if he does sue them, because that email is going to come up and back at you. So anyway, I show up for work that night to put myself in harm's way, and I've got a plan in my mind where there's a big bay door that you enter underneath the facility. And what I was going to do is just kind of stow away to the right side, tightly up against. This way, if the fucker would have walked in, especially if he's holding anything, I'm just going to bum rush him from behind, grab him, and drive his head straight into the concrete. Meantime, Joseph, our savior, would be there at the door to make sure if we needed to, there'd be somebody there to do something at the door. I come up with these great plans all the time until somebody fucks with them. Joseph, of course, didn't show up because he got caught up in Tampa. What a coincidence, you cowardly piece of shit. And that was the night I decided I'm done. You're literally putting us out in front of a firing squad. The fact that it didn't happen isn't the point. The fact that you thought it could happen enough where you had to lock the doors in the office and then you had to, and now there's signs all over the freaking door, no backpacks, no guns. And we're a business. We're not like, a 7-Eleven. I'm just like, y'all, man, you're too much for me. You're just too much. And that's how much you think of me and this team, is that you're going to feed us to a fucking possible mass shooter. No, I got to go. So that's what led to the 2 weeks notice. No, dude, I got a substantial raise, M-Hawk. Believe me, I already knew that they were going to grind me in this role. Even saying that, they grinded even worse than I thought. So I was getting a $15,000 a year pay increase because I knew it was going to be that bad. And it still ain't worth it. Not worth it. I was pulling over 65 to 70 hours. There was like no time for anything. Going back to how gaming helps people. And again, when I was doing 50 hours, not a big deal. Plus, I only 6 miles from home. I could be home in a minute. It wasn't that big a deal. And I was able to go in at like 5 in the morning, get done by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was all right. This, between losing your sleep schedule and having to deal with this bullshit and people just disrespecting you this way, enough is enough. So I needed a break anyway, so all good. Dude, I worked third shift for 11 straight years at Disney, and I did it because we had the best stories. Everyone that came in the AM just wanted, they would be like a campfire. They'd all circle around like, tell us what happened. And we would tell them about the two naked people in the hammock. We would tell them about the ABC executive who was butt naked at 1 o'clock in the morning at the front desk because he locked himself out of his room and has no idea how he got in the stairwell. So many stories, and they're good. And that's the reason I did it at Disney, because first off, we had good teams there. We had a lot of, sharp people on the front desk team. Security was pretty good. And those are the two biggest teams that I would work with there. We just had some really good stories, really entertaining sometimes. But this is different. Yeah, unless it affects them directly, which, again, it was supposed to, because one of them was supposed to be there that night, but then he couldn't make it. So isn't that funny how that happens? You know what, Jay? I've only spoke to this kid once, and I used him as a translator because he spoke multiple languages, and I needed him to help me translate to somebody else. So I don't know if the voices talk to him all the time or not. He did allegedly tell one of my other assistants in my building, he told her that he's been off his meds. So, again, information that he shared with us, so we're not like going into his medical files. He's the one telling us about it. Yeah, I mean, infrared, you can sue somebody for anything. You just have to have a judge say, yeah, we'll hear your case. And if the only thing I can do is leave behind a breadcrumb that's going to cost them a lot of money, then guess what? I feel like I've done my part. I can safely say this, no matter what. You never say never. I'm going to say never again will I work for this company. Absolute soul-sucking bunch of fucks. And a lot of the people who work there, don't get me wrong, they're cool as hell. And I will stay in touch with several of them. But when you get into the upper management and ownership in particular, no. No. I only gave them the 2 weeks because I already had a 5.5-year relationship with them. And at that time, I was like, I don't want to burn this bridge. Maybe they're going to, they're always getting new accounts. This account sucks for me. Maybe they'll get one closer to home or with better hours of operation. I don't know. You don't want to burn a bridge. But after what happened in the following week after that event, yeah, I just said I don't give a shit if they ever want to talk to me again, because I don't want to talk to them again. I'll never work for them again. Ever. They tried to hang all of us out, not just me, all of us. Juan Cordero, what's up, buddy? Yeah, look, man, I don't even care if they notice it or not. I was only there about 3 weeks, so I didn't get to really put much of a stamp on anything. I tried to, and every time I did, this other guy, who would be manager if he could speak English, would cry to them on the phone, and I'm getting a phone call. And it's like, who's in charge, me or him? Because, and that's one of the things I told them. I said, this shadow management team is not happening. Either I am here and I'm running it, or I'm not. You decide. It was nice to be able to be in a position to talk that way, though. I mean, I really got up in their face. I was like, enough of you bullshit. Nothing ready for the last DLC pack. What do you mean nothing ready? I'm ready. I'm like SpongeBob, man. I'm ready. Yeah, Ken, I agree. I mean, look, I had no misconceptions that they, thought anything. I can say this. One of the guys there that I truly, truly am going to miss, he was in the accounting department, just a nice guy. And when our contract that I had had for 5 years had expired and they were going with another company, at that point, that was it. I was done. And there was a sense of relief. And the only reason I rolled the dice on this one, twofold. Number one, my boss kind of sold the team to me, that it's not like the team I just got done with. There's a whole bunch of people here that are overachievers and they just go the extra mile and you don't got to stand on top of them and all that. And I thought, well, you know what? Maybe it won't be so bad if we have quality people. And how you going to know unless you go? So that's kind of where that thought process went to. And the other one was I knew I had to buy a new computer. And I was like, well, if nothing else, I'll get a pretty good paycheck for 3 weeks. 1 week's going to go into the computer, which it's pretty much what it did. So, yeah, those are the two reasons why I gave it a shot. And, again, the 2 weeks notice was a formality. And here's the part where I kind of kicked myself in the ass. I went to give the notice. My boss wasn't there. I even went in extra early. And this was a meeting day. On Thursdays, we have all the managers come in for a meeting, and she's always there for it. But this one, she's not there. So when the meeting's over, I go directly to HR because that's the only person left I can talk to, hand in my written resignation, explain to him why I'm leaving, and that was that. Well, my boss calls me the next morning, so I go into work that night, which I want to say was a Wednesday night. No, it would have been a Thursday night. So Thursday night, now it's Friday morning, and she's like, well, I'm going to be there, in like another 30 minutes. And it's like 6 a.m. I'm like, fine. That's okay. So she comes in at 6 a.m. with this other guy, Jonathan, or Joseph, rather, who I really didn't want to talk to him, but okay, whatever. And we sit down, having this little powwow. And it's like, man, I was really surprised. I said, really? Were you? I said, Jonathan, or Joseph, I keep doing that. I said, Joseph, were you surprised? And he didn't say nothing. Because, again, I'm on the way to work for that shift. So it's almost 10 p.m. the night prior. And I'm getting a call from Joseph over here about, hey, the reason we can't switch these rosters around and all that, which means this other character, this other piece of shit, already called him at the beginning of the shift when I said, hey, I want the lineup that I put out there to be used tonight. Okay, don't change anything. I'll be there in a little while. I sent him a text. Literally 5 minutes later, I'm getting a phone call. Because that's what he does. He goes and cries to this guy. Then this guy calls me and tells me, no, let him do it this way. So who the fuck is in charge? And I told him, I says, do me a favor. Explain to me why I'm here. I said, I feel like you don't need me. And then 8 hours later, here we are having this chat. And she's like, oh, I'm so surprised to find out that you gave this written notice over and all. And I looked at him and said, are you surprised? And he didn't say nothing. I said, you should be surprised I'm still here. You should be surprised that I'm giving you 2 weeks. I said, first I'm set up for a shooting gallery, and now this? Come on, guys, be serious. We talked for a good hour, and I could tell that she thought that I would consider staying. And I told her, probably not. I said, and if you need an answer right this minute, then, here's the laptop, here's the phone. We'll call it a day. I'll think it over. Maybe I'll change my mind. I don't think so. Well, no. Hold on to it till you make up your mind. Oh, okay, because I thought you wanted an answer right now. Didn't she just say she wants an answer right now? She did, right? Okay. Now all of a sudden she don't need an answer right this minute. Okay. Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? But I dealt with as much of that shit as I possibly could. Oh, did they finally put out a JYD video? I've been looking around to see if there's anything else. I saw Tito's, which looks amazing, and that's what we're going to talk about the rest of the way. I just needed you guys to understand why things have been so wonky around here. And again, for anyone just joining us, it's an all-new computer right now that I'm still so it's Windows 11. The old one wouldn't upgrade to Windows 11, and they told me how much it would cost to upgrade to Windows 11. I'd need a new motherboard, a new this, and more RAM, and at that point in time, like the guy said, just get a new computer. And that's what I did. So still trying to figure out all the bells and whistles. Haven't quite got it all down yet. But hopefully Yeah, again, man, and I've worked for a lot of managers over the years, and they have all been cool. I have been so blessed with the management team that I've worked with up until this company. Even then, when I first got hired, it was by one of my former bosses at Disney. So he and I worked at Disney together. He brought me over here to save the account that I've been at for 5 years, knowing I could and I would, and I did. But then they fired him about 5-6 months into my tenure, which I know this guy is a straight arrow. I mean, they fired him because they couldn't keep the Disney account. They just couldn't staff it properly. Disney, I can tell you, I've been on both sides of the fence. With Disney, I was the manager that oversaw the third-party vendors. So if you guys didn't get the job done, I was there to let you know, why isn't this done? You need to get this done before 6 a.m., that kind of stuff. And if you're not getting it done, then we have to go to another company. And then on the other side, Disney will not allow you to bring anyone in that's partners. In other words, it has to be all people that you've hired for your company, which means background checks. They all have documents that they can work in the country legally, all that kind of stuff. Any of that not being right, automatic breach of contract. Disney don't play. And there's families and kids there. They don't want pedophiles running around. They have enough on their own staff. They don't need them on third party as well. So that all said, I've seen both sides of the equation, and I can just tell you that when they couldn't staff it and they had to let it go, they basically looked at my boss. They hired him because he had a 20-year career at Disney in upper management. And because of that, they figured, okay, he's going to know the people to talk to, and he's going to, know the lingo, and he'll be able to soften the edges when we fail, which doesn't work that way. They can all say, hey, man, good to see you again. We're going to have to let your team go, though. That's just the way it is. It's called business. Well, when they let the Disney contract go, they looked at him and said, well, we don't need you anymore. And that was it. They fired his ass. So I knew right then and there's no loyalty in this company. And then it was about maybe a month or two later that I had the call from the owner telling me straight up, I don't care about the people working for me. I don't care about our clients. I only care about my profit. I've been staying there this long for other people. First, it was my girlfriend at the time, and I knew that she was only there because I brought her there because my old buddy agreed that she would be the other part that we would need to pull this thing together and save the contract, and it worked. But that said, he's gone now. The boss is suddenly looking at the P&L statements and pretending he didn't know. It's like, well, who's this person? What's this? Well, that's his assistant. There's no assistant being paid for in this contract. She's got to go home right now. You call on the phone, get her to go home. Well, that started a downfall in the relationship as well. A lot of stress. And unfortunately, it ended up taking its toll as well. So this company's taken a lot from me. But when she came in to tell me that she was surprised, and, well, just to let you know that Ray, who is the number 2 guy in the company, but in charge of all the money, has said that if you want to, you can, we'll take your 2 weeks notice. You don't even have to work the 2 weeks and we'll still pay you, which I thought that was a nice gesture. But I got this thing about me where, I don't take handouts. It's like, I'll work for the 2 weeks. Unless you're telling me that you don't want me here for those 2 weeks, because I get that as well. If you're the company owners and you keep someone around who's basically giving you their walking papers, it could be all right. Or on the last day, they might slip and fall, and now you got to pay them for the next 7 months while they're on workman's comp. And that's assuming they slip and fall and don't just pretend to slip and fall. But they agreed to, no, if you want to work it, you can. And I'm like, okay, so we'll do that. I'll do the 2 weeks. And then, like I said, all this other shit started happening. And I finally just got to that point where it's like, you know what? We'll make tomorrow night the last night. Well, you know what? You don't need to go in tomorrow night either. I don't think they're paying me for next week. I don't think they are, or this week technically now. Which is fine. But the thought that I could have had 2 weeks paid and walked away and avoided all this kind of makes me think I was the idiot. But like I said, I from a personal standpoint, I just have a hard time. If I'm giving you 2 weeks notice, I'll work the 2 weeks. Oh, well. I don't know that I'd make that mistake a second time. JYD's missing his chain. The fuck? Hold on. Let me see if I can pull this up here. Pardon me while I whip this out, the man said. So let's see. That means we've seen Jesse, we've seen Tito, now JYD. We got Sid, and who are we missing? One more. It'll come to me, or one of you guys will put it in there. Alrighty then. Hold on a moment. Let's get that set, get that set, and... What? No grab them cakes? Why? That's not even his entrance. And you're right, the no chains is horrible. Oh, this is not good, guys. Wow. No, 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 no. Watched a little bit.
AI
of
music
AEW,
creators
not a lot.
using Udio are.
Oh, Jesus, everything's popping off at once here. Hold on a minute. Jeez, told you, a new computer. Still getting used to everything. There we go. Wow. I was happy with Orndorff with one exception, and that's his hair. Hair looks great. But as he's coming to the ring, just the lower 2 inches starts fluffing around in the wind, which, no, it doesn't. Watch the man. It's his hair's like a helmet, man. It ain't going nowhere. You just got to show that there's motion in the hair, though, don't you? Even when it shouldn't be. I don't know how. How? Did you not put the collar on him? That just seems so obvious. Now, again, it ain't out till Tuesday. You got to know they're going to catch some shit for this. Maybe they'll fix it by then. I don't think it'll be that hard. Is there not an entrance in the game with somebody who has a... I know you can put a chain on them, but then you're using another freaking cost slot. But isn't there an entrance where somebody has a chain draped around them or something like that? Not sure. Yeah, I mean, look, Tito looks pretty good. And, you know, they're going with the T-shirt version of him. I'm probably going to... I might just keep my version as well, because mine is a younger version of him, albeit by about 5 to 8 years, but still a younger version. I was thinking about taking those attires and putting them on the 2K model as alt attires. And I might do that just to see how it looks, but I got a feeling I'll just keep mine because I really like the way mine turned out. But I still cannot believe what they did to JYD. Oh, my goodness. Like a bobblehead, the man says. Wow. Oh, Jesse was the other one. Jesse Ventura looks amazing. See, look, Jesse's got the boa, and he's got the earrings, and He's got everything, and JYD doesn't get a fucking collar and a chain. You know what? Mm-hmm. How much you want to bet it's a racial thing? That they're afraid, oh, we don't want to have a black man coming out in chains. Dude came out with a dog collar and chain. It was a fucking gimmick. Ah. Blaze Radio is in the house. McCoy. JYD with no chain. Tell me how you do that. How do you make JYD without a chain? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Holy shit, what? Ever since my data loss, my game just crashes every time on startup on my main account. So I have to share the game to a second PS account, and now I can't even get the DLCs. Dude, you have no luck with these games. I mean, worse than me. Everything about Blaze, they don't have grab those cakes. It's like, that's a WWE song. What the fuck? Dookie, what's happening, buddy? Well, the DLC isn't officially out until, I think, what, Tuesday? If I'm not mistaken, or Wednesday. But they just released video of the JYD's entrance, and it's horrible. He had, first off, it's not the right entrance. It's not the way he came to the ring. It's not his music from the Pile Driver album. And he doesn't have his trademark dog collar and chains. Which, by the way, you had it on your LJN figure. Wow, I just can't believe they did him like that. So anyway, JYD, Jesse, Tito. Who else? Sid's still to come. We haven't seen Sid yet. It's hard to fuck that up. I mean, if you fuck that up, good luck to you. Blaze, so you're saying that you are sharing it to so basically like one of the people in your communities, you have to use their PlayStation to do your shit? Am I getting that right? Wow, and you're going to buy next year's, I know you are. Dude, I am so not buying anymore. I'm done. The WWE, and JYD is just a symptom of this. The WWE is gone. There is no WWE. It's TKO. There's not even, certainly no WWE, and definitely no WWF. All of the family-friendly, fan interactive stuff, even when they were screwing up for years, at least there was some element of we want to hear what you, the fans, are saying. And there was that time in 20 when they took the year off after that dismal release where the guy came out and said, you know, what is it you guys want in the next game? Because we have an extra year now. And that's when the My GM thing came back into existence and all that. So at least they faked it enough. And they did listen, because that apparently is what got the wins, was the My GM had outranked the universe mode, which I still don't get how that happens, but okay. Yeah, he's another one of these PC gamers, so it seems like the PC guys get hammered by 2K when their shit, because even with 2K's NBA, I hear a lot of people talking horrifically. And again, this computer I just picked up is a gaming computer. It's got all the little lights and the cooling liquid and shit. I just don't have any desire to play on PC. I'm a console guy. I've always been. I always imagine I will be. I still can't get over you paying for 2K26 after all this. I just don't understand it. But, man, you do you. Whatever makes you happy, buddy. And that's one of the other things we're going to catch up with here on Wrestle Chat today is the future of Wrestle Chat, because Jay and I have something in common right now, and that is that we are not watching today's product at all anymore. I gave up on AEW a long time ago. I'll never go back. WWE, it's just, they're gone. You know, we should have a proper funeral for them. Maybe that'll be the next episode. We'll do a proper funeral for the WWE because they're dead. They're buried. 2K is going to put them so far under the dirt that they won't be able to see the sun. And while I like TNA, they are now so involved with TKO that it's the same. You know, they're just going to, it's not the whole inner working with NXT had some potential. I feel like it hasn't really reached that potential personally. So I think what we'll be doing on Wrestle Chats in the future is reviewing good wrestling from back in the day. So maybe we'll do whatever's coming up next. So we got November, we got Survivor Series. Maybe Jay and I will watch the very first Survivor Series, and then we'll talk about that. But so far as modern day product and all that shit, I'm not even watching the highlights anymore on YouTube. That's how much I don't care. I did see that Chelsea regained the U.S. title, and I'll say this. Fucking little late, but better late than never. She never should have lost the title. I said it then. I'll say it again now. She should have held that title for a year, year and a half. She made that title, and it was a brand new title. And she made that thing worth something. She played it perfectly with the Secret Hervis and all that shit. It was absolutely perfect. And you went and fucked it up, and you put it on the midget, who didn't defend it ever. All these people that have titles that you never see them anymore. They're the defending tag team champions. Where are they? Don't know. So we're not watching today's product anymore. So therefore, I can't really chat about it. So I think what we'll do is we'll rely on the good old days. And we'll do that instead. Besides, there's enough people out there talking about what's wrong with today's products. You don't need two more. Pretty cool custom modded arena with barbed wire barricades around the ring. Yeah, that won't help the game crash at all. TNA's last PLE was decent. That's good. Was that the one that had the Hardys going up against Team 3D? I did watch that match. It was okay. I mean, the guys are not young. And Devon looked pretty good. I was worried about him and how he was going to be able to pull it out. But I thought he did pretty good. All things considered, didn't seem like massive ring rust. They hit that 3D right off the bat, so that was kind of fun. I just, you know what, y'all are having that last match thing, and I just didn't like the idea of seeing them at this point in their careers coming off of the top of ladders going through tables still. And I also saw the highlight, if you want to call it a highlight, of Dragunov and what he did to Axiom or whatever, you know, what the fuck his name is. I don't know who it was he did it to, one of the other young guys. Absolutely pathetic. I mean, this is the same shit I was beating AEW up over. There's no excuse for it. It never should have happened. It's an unnecessary risk. By the way, didn't Dragunov just come back from a lengthy injury and he's dropping himself on his neck? Fucking stupid. This is why I won't watch it. I'm not going to sit there and watch the next guy get carted out because he can't feel his legs. Starcade, yeah, we could definitely do a little bit of that as well, man. So I think that's what it's going to be. It'll be like a historic. We'll pick one of the pay-per-views from the old days for that month, and we'll watch that, and we'll kind of go over the notes from that or something to that effect, I think. Kenny, that same thing, man. I've been watching old stuff. I've been getting caught up in the old Coliseum videos. That's what's been popping up on my timeline as of late, so that's what I've been going with. Yeah, WWE had, I feel the same exact way right about now that I do about AEW. Spot monkeys, people are going to get hurt. It's for no good reason. Fuck you. And add to that what they are charging for tickets. I can't believe in today's economy, people are paying that money. I just can't. If I had that money, I wouldn't be paying it. Jay, I'd said this in the beginning, if you remember. I don't understand what the talk was about Julia. I didn't know shit about her. I knew she was a big deal overseas. And I'm watching her first 2 NXT matches, and I was like, this girl's the shit. And not in a good way. She didn't strike me as good. At all. Timing wasn't well, and I'm thinking, okay, different style. Maybe she'll adapt. And then they have her off TV for how long? And then she comes back and she loses in 3 minutes to a roll-up. I honest to God, I don't see her being more than a mid-card talent. I out of what I have seen of her, and I've given her a few matches, I don't get what the hype was. Some of it you can blame on booking, but they weren't booking Io Sky very well. But then she started killing it in the matches, and the fans got behind her. And as we all know, fans hijacked the show. And all of a sudden, she's now one of the great champions of all time. If Julia had the talent, the booking would fix itself because the fans would fix the booking. I just don't think she's got that talent. I'm not saying she's terrible. I just don't think she's that good. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of different rumors about stuff. It's just nothing that sounds good. They're trying to distance themselves from. They're trying to get this ain't your granddaddy's WWE anymore. Well, that was good for 45, 50 years. Last time I checked, McDonald's still makes Big Macs. They're not making pizza all of a sudden. Yeah, I heard something about the AEW adding another title as well. I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, I figured, Jay, you would like the idea of watching some of these stuff. I actually watched, again, Beach Brawl from the UWF the other day. That is a solid show, man. I'm telling you what, the matches in that show, they're not top-name talent, all of them, but the matches in there, they felt good, man. They felt real. A lot of the outcomes are all stupid, like you're in an ODQ match and all of a sudden these two guys get counted out. It's like, what the fuck, man? It's an ODQ match. You got to have a winner. And that was a big part of their problem. They had a lot of matches that ended in countouts and DQs when they were matches like strap matches or steel cage. You know, you have to have a winner in this. It's a blow-off match. What are you talking about? He was too coked up, though. He didn't have control. By the way, man, I love me some Kenny Bomb, but I got to tell you, I left a comment for him on his latest video about the DLC coming up. When he turns around and says, I got to be honest with you, I don't know who most of these people are. I know Sid and this and that. And then they showed the Tito entrance, and he's like, I got to tell you, I have no idea who this is. And it's like, dude, you're not a wrestling fan. You're not. You cannot be a wrestling fan and not know who all 5 of those guys are and what they contributed. If I'm in your situation, I'm going to shut the fuck up and I'm going to go find out who they are because they're going to be in the game and I want to talk about them. But to tell me you don't know who Tito Santana is, you're not a wrestling fan. When I was growing up with Tito Santana, I was reading about Pat Patterson and stuff in the magazines. We didn't have the videos back then. And there was a point in time where the Walmart bin had VHS tapes in there of the classic wrestling from back in black and white days with Gorgeous George matches and Eduardo Carpentier. And I was watching all that shit because I wanted to know as much about it as I could. So the thought that somebody who's got a pretty sizable audience that makes his living off a WWE 2K product is going to sit there and say, man, I don't know who this man is. You've had a few months to find out. Anyway, lost a little respect. That's all. Still think he does a good job, but lost a little respect. Primetime, that's what I was doing. I was watching the YouTube recaps, and I'd get through a Raw episode in like 15 minutes. And I just got to the point now where it's like, why? It's like, AJ Lee, where the hell is she at? She ain't showing up. It's just nothing that I gave a shit about is there. So I'll watch Saturday night's main event with Cena's last match. I'll watch that. But that might be the last thing I watch. This may very well be the year without a WrestleMania. For me. I might just, and the thought of that is mind-boggling to me. But I'm just like, why? It's 2 days and 3 or 4 hours a day. And it's like, nah, for what? Yeah, TKO is definitely doing it, man. Billy Corgan's pissed about the AEW national title. Billy Corgan, man, somebody check that company and see if there's still a pulse. How are they still? Are they still breathing? NWA is like the worst of the worst. He had something going in 19, but then he let it all fall apart. Yeah, I don't know how old Kenny is, but again, you're making your money off of the 2K game, and this DLC was announced a long time ago. So rather than sit there and act stupid about it, I'd be like, well, let me see who these guys are. Let me get on YouTube and pull up some Tito Santana and see, holy shit, he had a hell of a feud with Valentine. Oh, okay. Let me watch a couple of their matches. Holy shit, these guys can go. By the way, as I told him in the note that I left him, I was like, you might want to know at least the history of WrestleMania because he was the very first WrestleMania match ever. Obviously, I'm a little more passionate about it because Tito, as everyone knows on this channel, it's been around for a while. That's my number one guy. Always has been, always will be. Love Santana. Thought he was the best at what he did. His stuff felt real. And then you put him in there with Valentine. His shit also felt real. That's why those guys had the feud, the longest lasting feud in the history of the WWE. WWF, however you want to call it back then. They've never had a feud. You'd have to look at like the NWA, maybe with Dusty and Flair in comparison, but for the WWF, they never had one that was almost 2 full years. And so much storytelling. And the matches were so good. I loved Strike Force, dude. I loved Strike Force. When I heard Tito was going to be in the game, I was like, oh, can't you bring Martel back? Come on, man. I would love nothing more than a Strike Force team with Girls in Cars music. Well, Ken, I don't know if they do wrestling magazines anymore. I actually stopped by when I was shopping the other day doing the food, and I stopped on the magazine aisle just out of curiosity to see, hey, is like there any more PWI or any of that kind of shit? And I didn't see one wrestling magazine. And cost being what it is nowadays, and everybody can get everything they need on the internet, I just don't see it even being plausible to have it. But you do have everything on the internet, so to your point, Infrared talking to J-Rocks about Multimedia Inc. TK did that shit on purpose because of the Shockwave name use lawsuit. I don't know what you're referring to. Feel free to clue me in. NWA is now on Roku TV on Monday nights at 8 p.m. 45 minutes. Don't sneeze. So I don't have Roku anything, therefore I will not be watching it. They would have done themselves a much better service to have been on YouTube again like they started out. I'm sure Roku's probably paying them a little bit more, maybe. Santana was going to be the world champion, and then they signed Hogan. He was all set to win the world title. He was the pick to beat the Iron Sheik, and then Hogan signed on. They're like, well, let's try this first. Andrew, I gave up on MLW a long time ago when they turned into the, what's Darius's old wrestling company there? Lucha Underground 2.0. It's like, no, guys, that's somebody else's thing, and it was cool when they did it. It had potential when they first brought back Darius, and he had the office, and he had the bull, and all that. You know, they brought all the little details back to it. I was like, okay, this could work. There's a history there. But then all of a sudden, they just tried turning it into Lucha, and I'm like, no. So I tapped out on that one as well. Killer Bees and the British Bulldogs. Can't go wrong with either one of them. You bought wrestling magazines in January. So like 8-9 months ago. Which magazines were they? Yeah, I'm a little surprised they've never done the British Bulldogs. Dynamite, I don't think, left on a good note, but he's gone now. It would go to his kids, I would imagine. NWA sued AEW for the use of the Shockwave name for their TV show. I didn't even know they had a TV show named Shockwave. Tony retaliated with this whole national... Oh, my God. Tony Khan, man, he is a sensitive little prick. Don't touch his toys or he will cry. The NWA were going to be on the CW, and they did screw themselves by having a cocaine party on their fucking pay-per-view. Dumbasses. I mean, Ken, the best thing about 2K when it comes to wrestling is we've got the greatest creators there are out there, and if you're looking to do like the stuff I do, you need a Mike Rotundo, Kevin Sullivan, whatever it is, they're out there and they're good. Just download them. Some of them are better. Even like I still kept the Brock Lesnar from the younger days, like when he first came on the scene. I still got that one separate. I'd still like to know what would happen if they would come up with a 2K version of the game with all legends. Or put, 30 to 40 legends. I think that would sell a lot better. Another reason I stopped watching MLW altogether is they had their title for the longest time on Bro. Which I know now he's like cancer. Nobody will touch him. Little late. Piece of shit. Could never like him. I never ever liked him. Yeah, Ken. I mean, again, if your thing is AEW and that's what you watch, I don't get it. But all right. I also don't get dudes that like dudes, but they're out there. So if that's what you're into, ain't my business. But I don't get it. Wrestling Insider. Damn. Are they doing it monthly? It's got to be like quarterly or something like that. Dijak and Bishop Dyer is MW World Tag Team Champion. Oh, they got Baron over there, huh? I do like Baron Corbin. Skyscrapers, how original. Yeah, the shit the AEW's done, it has been absolutely off the charts. Just whether it's the spikes sticking in the fucking, what was it, the head of Moxley or the back? The back, I think, right? And then you had Tony Storm, the last Wrestle Chat, we showed the video, Tony Storm over there eating out Sasha Banks during a live show. It's like, what the fuck? And then even the intro to this program, I still show that clip where I think it was Hangman drinking the blood of his opponent as it pours out of his head. It's like, guys, I'm sorry. You'll never defend that to me. You'll never defend it. It's not wrestling. It's absolute shit. No, it's Pro Wrestling Illustrated, man. What are they getting on that? Hold on a minute. Let's see. What's the cost of a PWI nowadays? $8. Holy shit. $8. What's this one? The same? Open up, damn it. Finally, goddamn. Top 500 men. Well, I guess there are still some wrestling magazines out there. Well, again, in my book, it's not even wrestling. That's not even wrestling. I'm embarrassed for them. And I know Tony seems like she really enjoyed the scene. Like she wanted to do this. And what's wrong with you? You know, you consider yourself to be a professional wrestler, then what's wrong with you that you think in front of children, you think that's the right thing to do? Go back to Australia. I used to like her, but I lost all respect for her after that. All. I thought she was one of the very few people, maybe the only person, other than Chris Jericho, that actually took the opportunity to be in AEW and made themselves better. I don't think I could say about anyone else that went there. Certainly doesn't seem like it because they all have either left or disappeared or have nothing good to say. And then she did that. And I'm like, you know what? You're just a dumb bitch. I did see a little bit of New Maple Leaf, which is basically old Impact Wrestling. D'Amore's bringing his friends over, which is to be expected. And at this point, I'm not watching anything that's not on YouTube. If I was going to watch something, it'd have to be on YouTube. I'm not paying for anything else. Matter of fact, I just put in my notice to cancel cable after this month because I'm not watching it anymore. I've got like 7 episodes of SmackDown still saved that I've never looked at once. They got you on the nostalgia, Jay. We're getting some of those little pop-up warnings here on the OBS. Getting some pop-up warnings on the OBS. I'm not sure what it might be, just signal dropping or something like that. JCW Legacy. Not familiar with that one, Kevin. Yeah, the 12-belt boss lady. I'm so tired of her shit. First off, you want to talk about overrated? She's as overrated as they get. I saw an entrance, I don't know if it was TV or pay-per-view or whatever it was, where there was a bunch of, I think it was dudes, that came out holding her belts up, and then she came out and like walked right past all the belts and shit. And I'm like, this is just stupid for being stupid. What do you think you're accomplishing with any of that? And there's one belt she ain't getting her hands on. That's the one that's currently held by Izzy Moreno. That kid, I'll tell you what, That's might be the one thing that'll get me to watch wrestling here and there is as she moves up the ladder. I get to see a little bit of her indie stuff once in a while if it makes it onto YouTube. And she finally won her first title. I forget which federation it is, but I think I posted it up on the Twitter page there. And I'll say one thing about Izzy. She's cool because she actually responds to her fans. I think she's probably directly responded to something I've posted at least 3 times maybe by now. And it's just cool that, granted, that she gets to be a bigger deal, and once she gets to that Bayley level, which I don't think there's a chance in the world that she won't. I mean, what she's doing now, what she did in her debut, I still have her debut match on video. And that was pretty fucking good for a 17-year-old. I thought it was a pretty damn solid match. I wasn't expecting a whole lot. It was not bad at all. For my money, I think you could put her on the main roster already because I see plenty of people on the main roster in the women's division, Nia Jax, that don't belong there. But that's just me. Oh, and I guess the only other thing left on the news front that I am aware of is Tegan Nox, and I guess her tag team partners are actual lifelong partner. Don't even know the girl's name. Apparently nobody does. She was an indie star until, not even a star necessarily, an indie wrestler who just happened to hook up with Tegan Nox, and Tegan had the name recognition of the two, got over to AEW, wrestled a match, lost, was scheduled to wrestle again on this recent program, And they were going to lose in 3 minutes, and she said, no, we're not doing that. And now she's gone because she wasn't under contract to begin with. And she's already notified that she's only planning on wrestling for like less than a year now, another 9 months or something like that, and she's hanging it up with her chronic injuries. I mean, yeah, don't be surprised that no one is booking you, and that's what she's complaining about now. She's not getting any bookings. Why would anyone book you? So, no, she's 18 now. She had her birthday about, I don't know, 3 months ago. I've never watched Nick Wayne. I've heard the name, and I've heard a lot of people say the same thing, overrated. It's AEW, so the chances of me seeing it's going to be slim and none, and none just left the building. Or Slim just left the building, I should say. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Well, I want to thank you guys for being here today. This has been fun, having the conversations back and forth and all the input from everybody. Like I said, I think I'm going to come back on in a few hours and try a live stream with the computer here and see how it all turns out. And I'll listen to some of this back just to make sure my audio is not doing anything funky. But there's still some things I got to adjust when I do the live stream with the 2K game playing. So some of it will probably be okay. Some of it might not be where I'm used to it being, but we'll work it out together. In the meantime, thank you guys for being here today. This is that point where I would normally say goodbye, Jay, but you can do it in the comment section. It's not quite the same, but you can do it in the comment section. In the meantime, I will say so long, everyone, and I will be back probably around 7:30, 8 o'clock, somewhere in there. That's the plan, okay? Till then, see you later for a next episode of Wrestle Chat. Actually watched a little bit of AEW, not a lot. Just enough to remind me why I don't watch it. Oh, this is already funny. Just the headline. The list of moves and actions that are now banned from AEW or need to be approved by the company.
Maybe that's why Nash is pissed off, because he went for Rock and Austin and not try to duplicate him.
Well, it'd be easier to duplicate him. You only have to learn 5 moves.
Like you said, and we've all been saying, Tony Khan, you need a hierarchy, and he gets one, and then we make fun of it.
Because he's sitting back there talking about the Brock match, and it's finally we had a wrestling match. Finally, we got 2 guys telling a story. They weren't outside the ring the whole time. One of them
Was he not watching the same match as we were?
Yeah, those games, man, I would say, like, for me, like, the best ones, I would say, are, like, the ones where they try to get a certain, like, time.
This is my entire IT team right here on screen. Everybody.